One time, I went to Supernova, which is the Australian version of Comic-Con, and I had a group of people ask me if I liked anime. I told them that I was a huge fan of Pokemon, and everybody laughed at me, telling me that that's not a real anime. That's about as far as my knowledge of actual anime goes. So, it goes without saying that there's an entire group of games on the Switch that I haven't played, as I just don't really know the source material. One Piece is one such franchise, spanning over 1,000 episodes, several movies, and a handful of video games. So what's it like playing One Piece Odyssey with no prior knowledge of the series? Put on your straw hat, weigh anchor, and prepare to fight as I review One Piece Odyssey for the Nintendo Switch. Before we begin this review, a word on spoilers. As I'm unsure of the series, I won't really talk about anything in the latter half of the game, and the footage in this video will only consist of what I captured in the first 15 hours or so. And while we're there, would you mind aiming your cannon for the like and subscribe button? It's the best way that What's It Like can be found on YouTube, and I can't thank you enough for doing so. One Piece Odyssey follows Luffy, a happy-go-lucky leader of the Straw Hats, a mismatched band of pirates who fight for good. One Piece Odyssey is set about 600 episodes into the anime, and despite this, it's a standalone story that does a great job explaining events and references to newcomers, saving me hundreds of hours of catching up on Netflix. This particular story has the Straw Hat crew shipwrecked on a mysterious island surrounded by storms. The team's powers are taken away by a new character called Lim after being mistaken for bad guys, and they must travel through time and memories to bring them back. As an outsider, I found the premise to be quite interesting, and the characters were wacky and well written. The crew had already established relationships which left me feeling a little bit lost for a while, such as Sanji and Zoro constantly butting heads, and that banter also plays out in both story and gameplay. With characters interacting in subtle ways, like when Luffy would heal Nami, she would be complimentary, yet if Sanji heals Zoro, he exclaims, "I don't need your help," which is a nice touch to flesh out the bonds with the crew. These small details go well above and beyond what I was expecting in a TV series spin-off video game, and it's quite clear that the game is a labour of love to the series. There are moments that genuinely made me laugh out too, and it knows when to take itself seriously and when to poke fun at itself. One Piece really just nails the tone. Sure, there are tropes like the overeager leader who's always hungry, but I found the characters to be endearing and interesting. Gameplay follows that of a traditional JRPG, and I was constantly reminded of the sublime Dragon Quest series. There are primary and secondary quests to complete, as well as treasure to find in the form of gold or jewelry, which can be equipped to alter the stats of your characters. Your main objective is to initially escape the island you're trapped on by salvaging the wreckage of your ship. The game also takes you back to pivotal moments of the anime series by travelling into memories to recover your abilities. These moments have been changed slightly to suit the gameplay and are explained away by saying how memories can be foggy or unreliable, and it allows a little bit more creative freedom. There's a lot of fan service here with characters past and present making an appearance, and thankfully for this outsider, there's a shot of exposition explaining who they are and what they do, allowing it to be a bit more accessible for newcomers. Each member of your party has an overworld special ability, like Luffy being able to lasso items and high points using his arm like Indiana Jones's whip, and Sanji's ability to sniff out food for cooking. These come in handy with puzzle solving and give each member of the Straw Hats some time in the spotlight, switching between members easily with the D-pad. Some quests, including story quests, can feel a bit superfluous, padding out the game time with constant backtracking, and one quest in particular in Alabasta really pushed my patience by returning to the same areas 3 or 4 times, which I found quite frustrating. The good news is that the game doesn't really require much grinding, and I never had to go out of my way to level up. Its approach to combat is relatively easy, but allows you to experience a story with minimal grinding and frustrations, which I found to be refreshing. What sets this aside from most traditional JRPGs, however, is the fantastic battle system. It follows almost a rock, paper, scissors format, which makes combat very interesting. You can switch out party members on the fly without having to lose a turn, making it far more forgiving than most combat systems we see in RPGs. There's also the inclusion of dramatic moments, which give you mini objectives to achieve, rewarding additional XP for leveling up. These dramatic moments might be something simple along the lines of healing 500 HP, or landing the killing blow with a specific character, and it just keeps combat interesting and exciting. You can also land a punch, which is like a critical hit that launches one enemy into another, dealing extra damage to both. It's all presented in a very stylish way with dynamic camera angles and battle banter, which just helps immerse you in the world of One Piece even more. One Piece Odyssey is presented in an almost cel-shaded 3D graphic style, which is both bright and sharp. The world it builds is interesting and varied, and while there is sometimes a slight dip in performance in heavily populated areas, it's an almost negligible payoff for how nice it all looks. Characters are charming and full of life, expressions are well animated, and there's a decent variety of bad guys and hostile creatures to fight. It suits the anime style and looks, and despite knowing little about One Piece, it just feels like an authentic representation for the series. For my vision impaired straw hats, there are no accessibility options, and despite being bright and colourful, there's a lot of reading involved since dialogue is spoken purely in Japanese. Therefore, I suggest further research to find out if One Piece Odyssey is right for you. At $85 Australian, One Piece Odyssey is another premium price port from Bandai Namco, but much like Ace Combat 7, it's a high quality port with a lot of polish that shines through. As an outsider looking in, One Piece is a fantastic JRPG to enjoy. Fans of this series will definitely get a lot more out of it though, but as it stands, this was a real pleasant surprise for me and a game that I would usually dismiss due to my lack of knowledge of the source material. It's heartwarming, entertaining, and thoroughly enjoyable with its well-written narrative, lovable characters, and a thought-out battle system. It may not be an overly difficult game, focusing more on telling a story rather than testing your patience, but for those looking for a 40-hour RPG in similar vein to Dragon Quest, One Piece Odyssey is a fantastic adventure worth going on for fans and newcomers alike. So, what's it like? One Piece Odyssey is like Dragon Quest crossed with Tales of Symphonia. I award it an 80 out of 100. In the interest of full disclosure, a review copy was provided by Bandai Namco, but this does not influence my score. Thanks so much for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. The best way you can support me is to like and subscribe and continue watching my content if you enjoy it. But if you do want to go that bit extra, you can buy me a coffee or join our Patreon, which shows you behind the scenes of this channel. Thanks again.